नमः शिवाय।
हर हर भोले नमः शिवाय।
हर हर भोले नमः शिवाय। हर हर भोले नमः शिवाय। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः।
Welcome to Satsang, and Happy New Year to everyone. You know, as Pujya Swamiji was saying, in India, in the Sanatan Dharm tradition, we don't actually celebrate this as the New Year. Our New Year is in early April, tied right in with the springtime Navaratri, with the birth of Bhagwan Ram. But nonetheless, we'll celebrate this one also, because it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to remember the preciousness of life. An opportunity to remember that the days are going by. The weeks, the months, the years are going by. And are we really making the best use of them? There are days in our life, but is there life in our days? So the New Year's birthdays, sometimes people say, well, you know, I don't really celebrate my birthday. That's fine, no need to have a big party, but they're a beautiful opportunity also, like New Year's. Just an opportunity to remember. Oh yeah, another year. Another year gone over which I have no control. It's over. And yet, at the same time, the universe being so incredibly generous and beautiful, just as we've lost one, just as it slipped through our hands and we can't rewind history and go back and unmake mistakes that we've made, in the same way, we get a whole new one, a brand new one to try a new one with, to start again. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to dive into what can be different, what can be better. How can I adjust my way of thinking, my way of acting, my way of living, my way of understanding the world, to bring me actually closer and closer to that which I'm looking for, the real joy, the real peace, the awakening, the opening, the fulfillment. So, Happy New Year. And what a beautiful blessing, as I was saying on Ganga, for us to actually be here in this sacred land of new beginnings. I mean, wherever you are in the world, every moment can be a new beginning. But the banks of Ganga are very powerful and very special. And so for anyone looking for expedited transformation, you're in the right place. Starting with one of the questions that's come in advance from our family all over the world. And then we will open it up to any questions that anyone here might have. Do New Year's resolutions really work? It seems like we're just setting ourselves up for disappointment, aren't we? New Year's resolutions work if we make them work. It's not like I've resolved that it's going to be 100 degrees tomorrow. You'd be setting yourself up for disappointment. I resolve I'm going to wear my bikini tomorrow. Well, you're setting yourself up to catch pneumonia. We don't have any power over the weather on that level. So yeah, if you make a resolution or have an attachment on some level, an expectation on some level that the weather is going to do what you want, absolutely, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But if you make a resolution, what we call a sankalp, a vrat, a vow, a pledge, that has nothing to do with a force beyond your control. That is your actual control. So no, you're not setting yourself up for disappointment at all unless you are committed to a pattern of living in which you never do anything you say you're going to do. I mean, if you decide, I'm never going to follow through with any of my commitments, then why make them? That's the point. Don't wait to be disappointed. Don't bother with the resolutions. But we all have a lot more power than we think. We have a lot more ability to change than we think. We are not set in stone. We know that we can change our physical bodies. That's why people almost always resolve that I'm going to lose weight, get in shape, exercise more, be healthier. We know we can change that. But we also can change ourselves on a very deep level. I was studying, before I moved to India, I was studying neuropsychology. And at that time, 25 plus years ago, we were taught that the brain, once you had reached, your late adolescence, early 20s, that the brain no longer could be changed. That you only could change it when kids were little. You couldn't change your brain after that. The best you could do was give people medication. Medication for depression, medication for anxiety, etc. But in the last 25 years, the science of neurology has actually done a complete 180. It's now major trending articles and research, and neuroscience says you can change your brain. And it does. We know that you can actually change your brain. And if you can change your brain, you can change everything. Our thoughts are just chemical and electrical blips in the brain. A secretion of a certain chemical in a certain part of the brain that causes a certain electrical reaction, and then a secretion of another chemical. It's what we call a thought. Emotions, same. They're just more, they sustain longer. They come back more. They become more groove-like as patterns. But that's all they are. They're chemical and electrical patterns, habits of the brain, all of which can be changed. And if you change your thoughts, then everything can be changed. Because from a thought comes everything. Right? They say from a thought leads to an action leads to a habit leads to a trait leads to a character, and a character leads to a destiny. So one thought. That which has transformed our world began with a thought. 9/11 began with a thought. Gandhi's revolution began with a thought he had. Why is it like this? Let us do something. Why through violence? Let's do it through nonviolence. It's a thought. Hitler had a thought. 6 million people perished. It's all a thought. Someone has a thought. They feed their neighborhood. They start a program that feeds the world. Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. He could have said, I have a thought. It's a thought. And from a thought, everything happens. So if we can change our thoughts and therefore our brain, therefore our actions, therefore our destiny, therefore not only our individual destiny, because we don't live in vacuums, we don't live separate from others. Everything I do ripples into the world. So by changing my thought, I change the world. So if I take my New Year's resolutions seriously, and I don't make resolutions about things that I know I'm not going to do, which, by the way, is a very detrimental thing to do. It's not just setting yourself up for disappointment. It's actually much more severely detrimental, because the way we act in the world is based on our own understanding of ourselves. For example, let's say we go to a restaurant together. The menu comes. Well, I know I'm a pukka vegan. Therefore, I know these things are all, I can skim through a menu very quickly. Because almost everything has meat or dairy. There's a few items left. I know, all right, I can eat from this. Somebody who's not even a vegetarian is going to look at the menu in a completely different way. So, the way that we identify ourselves leads to the thought. I don't have to look at a menu and wonder, am I going to be a vegetarian today? Am I a vegan today? Or am I a meat eater today? We've got set identities of how we understand ourselves. When I have to meet with people, a lot of times I like to walk. It's nice. It's nice to walk and talk at the same time. Gets the body moving, gets some fresh air. And there are people who you'll say it to who say, oh, I'm not an exerciser. I'm not a walker. Can't we just sit here? Means they haven't even actually thought about it. It's a self-identification. I don't exercise. I don't walk. I'm a sitter. Before they even have a chance to process the idea of, it's a nice sunny day. I'm in a beautiful place. Why not? Take a walk. But our self-identification dictates what we do. What we eat when we go to restaurants, how we live. Do we order a beer with our meal or not? Do we smoke a cigarette after our meal or not? Do we cheat on our spouse or not? It's all about my identification, how I think of myself. So if I think of myself as someone who never does what I say I'm going to do, then you can be pretty sure you will not succeed in your resolutions. Not because you can't, but because you're walking into it with this identification of, yeah, I never keep my promises. Give me till Jan 5th, maybe 10th, certainly. It'll all be over. If we know that in advance, don't even bother. But ask yourself, why are you identifying like that? Why have you given yourself such a detrimental self-identification? Change how you think of yourself. And this is why when you make resolutions, you should make sure to choose resolutions that actually you do have the capacity to do. For example, if you're used to sleeping till 9 a.m. every day, don't make a resolution that from tomorrow you're going to get up at 4 a.m. You may do it for a couple of days, but it's very likely that the pattern of your body is going to kick back in, and you'll be hitting that snooze button before you know it, at which point the self-identification says, yeah, I'm not the one who gets up early. I don't follow what I say I'm going to do. Instead, if you're used to getting up at 9, make a resolution that starting tomorrow you're going to get up at 7. It's manageable. Maybe 7:30 if necessary. Give yourself a couple months. Feb 1st, March 1st, then you resolve, all right, from now it'll be 6:30. Give yourself another couple months. It's 5, it's 5:30. By this time next year, it can be 4 a.m. If you actually do it in a way that's manageable for you, so that you can actually achieve it, so that the self-identification can be, yeah, I'm someone who does what I say I'm going to do. And then that strength that you get, that strength propels you into then fulfilling your next resolution and your next resolution. So only resolve that which you know. You actually can do if you set your mind to it. And then allow that whole way of thinking about yourself to become, yeah, look, I did it. I follow through with my pledges. I follow through with my resolutions. I have the strength. I can make changes. I do make changes. I have made so many changes. And then when you give yourself another change to make, you'll be able to do that as well. So don't set yourself up for disappointment. Choose wisely, choose beautifully, and then stick to it. Even if today you think I'm the type of person who doesn't do what I say, change that. Make that your resolution. I become someone who does what I say I'm going to do. I become reliable. I become trustworthy. I become someone others and myself can count on. That's a great resolution. Don't worry about resolving to get up early yet, or to stop eating junk food yet. Just for now, resolve to be someone who fulfills their commitments. Let yourself live in that for a little while, and then start resolving to change. Once you know you are someone who sticks to your changes. We all have the power to change so much. Let's use it. It's what we've been given this beautiful gift of free will for. Other questions? Yeah.
Namaste, Sadhviji. Sadhviji, my question is patience a virtue or a weakness? I want to put it in another way, like where we have to draw that line, like till, if any situation comes, till here we have to be patient, and after this we have to show our nails and horns. And in other words, I would say, like, I want to become like you. I want to keep smiling like you. I want to be like very calm as you are. I think most of us. But is it because like we are living in a different world, dealing with different people, and you are living in a life where you are more respectful and it's more possible for you? Are we dealing with more difficult people and it's not possible for you? Please guide me how to become like you.
You know, it really is a choice. It's definitely not that you're living with more difficult people. It's definitely not that things are different on that level outside than in an ashram. Meaning, people are people. It would be great if putting on saffron clothes or white clothes or yellow clothes suddenly made you ego-free or attachment-free or anger-free or jealousy-free or expectation-free or competition and judgment-free. It doesn't. Yes, we have a beautiful blessing of being surrounded by people who are committed to their path. People who are really working to get as close to God as they can, working to be as pure instruments of the divine as they can. But we don't live in a cocoon. As you may have noticed, we do a lot of work in the world. We don't just lock all of the doors and sit and meditate amongst ourselves. So the world comes in here. We are working in the world, with the world. We have, of course, our own inner world and everybody else's inner world to deal with. I can tell you honestly, for me, the way that I am, in terms of patient, mostly, not always, mostly, understanding, compassionate, loving, again, mostly, not always. Each year I get better and better. But it's always still my prayer, oh God. Every year, every day, but especially every year, I stand at the Yagna fire, I stand on the banks of Ganga, and it's the same prayer, oh God. Remove from me that which is keeping me stuck, that which is blocking me from being you here on earth. You don't get frustrated, you don't get angry, so remove from me that which is blocking me from being you. So that's still my prayer. But what I will tell you is that in terms of where I've reached so far, to be someone who you say, I would like to be like you, has really been a matter of choice and commitment. I do not like being stressed. It doesn't feel good inside me. I spent the first 25 years of my life in America, in Los Angeles, then in the San Francisco Bay Area, in a world where people were really stressed, as you know, in which there was a lot of negativity. I was wrapped up in all of that. When I came here, I was full of stress, depression, anxiety, fear, all of that. And what I learned as the years went by, as I started having more and more experiences of being free of that, is, wow, I choose door number one. I like this much more. It feels much better to not be stressed. It feels much better to be in love than in hatred. It feels much better to be accepting than not accepting. Because the world never changed because I didn't accept it. God never came to me and said, oh, you don't like that? Okay, no problem. So sorry, made a mistake. Let me just fix that up for you. When you don't accept something, you suffer. And so I've made really conscious decisions, and I work at it consciously every day to actively choose peace and love in my life. There's a lot of situations that arise in which one could react in something other than peace or love. But I've just learned in the last 26 years that doesn't feel good. It's like you may love the taste of French fries, but after eating a whole plate of French fries, I just don't feel good. And you do that enough times with enough introspection and insight that you realize, you know what? It's just not worth it. Yes, instinctively, put a plate of French fries in front of me. I may reach for one. But then the mind kicks in and says, wait. An hour later, you are going to feel sick. Tomorrow morning, you're not going to want to get up and meditate. And so you don't eat it. You let it go. You're like, I've done that, been there, done that. I know where this plate of French fries ends. And in the same way, I feel like I've done stress. I've done attachment, I've done anger, I've done grudges, I've done them enough in my life that I know where they end. And they never end pretty. I never feel like, oh, thank God I felt that because now things are better. It's always you're enervated, you're sapped of energy, you're unhappy. It leads you nowhere good. And so you can make the same choice I make. That's all it is. It's a conscious decision. The world is going to do what the world is going to do. But I don't have to get stressed or get angry or get upset just because you are. And that's a really powerful lesson. That in the face of anything, I actually have the opportunity, the possibility to stay peaceful, to stay happy. Doesn't mean I would have chosen that. Doesn't mean if I had a magic wand, I wouldn't undo it. But since it wasn't my choice how that person or that situation unfolded, since I don't have a magic wand to undo it, the only magic wand I've got is over my own emotions. And so I choose them to whatever extent possible. And what I have found over the years is that even when I do lose the peace and love experience, I'm much faster at bringing myself back because it's like, oh, it feels awful. And so you come back. And you can do that. You just have to get to a point in your life where you say, been there, done that, I know where this emotion is going. I'm not getting on that train. I've got another alternative. Yeah. And really, if I can do it, you can do it. It's a really strong just commitment to feeling better inside yourself. A lot of us make decisions so that our bodies feel better. But let us start making decisions so that our hearts feel better and our lives feel better. Other questions? Yeah. Here, either way. We'll take them both.
Namaste, Sadhviji. I want to ask you, as you just mentioned, that sometimes you understand the purpose of being here as a human, but sometimes you feel stuck with that invisible energy. How I understand this is that I'm sure it's not easy to let it go just by burning it in a holy fire. How to I want to understand and take guidance from you, how to reinforce that in the daily actions, to let go of this invisible energy that keeps us stuck into attaining the purpose of our lives.
In many ways, it's really similar to what we were just talking about. That energy that you're talking about, it's not some energy from outside. ऐसे नहीं कि बाहर से कोई भूत आ गया, आपको पकड़ लिया, जीने नहीं देते हैं. ऐसे नहीं है. It's not like you've been possessed from outside and someone else is filling you with greed or anger or jealousy or competition or resentment. It's your own habits, your own way. And so the way to let go is really to decide, I'm done. Like I'm done with it. Think about something simple, not easy, but something simple like quitting smoking. Okay? It's also a habit. A lot of people who smoke cigarettes say they want to quit. Many of them do, many don't. Those who don't, I have found, tend not to really be people who actually want to quit, but they're people who want to quit. So for example, there are people who say things like, I know I should quit, but. Meaning they're not actually deeply motivated in the inside, I am done with smoking, I want to be finished and done and over. But it's much more a sense of, yeah, I know this is bad for me, but. When really from the inside, There's that sense of, I am done. This is gross, over, finished. You let it go. Maybe with some help, maybe with some program, maybe with some nicotine patch, maybe with whatever you use, maybe cold turkey. But you figure out some way to stop doing something that you know is horrible for you, makes you feel horrible, you want to stop. You figure out how to let it go. Because again, an addiction to smoking cigarettes is not like a spirit from some other planet or the cosmos that has come and grabbed you and is forcing you to buy packs of cigarettes and smoke them. It's your own arm, propelled by your own brain, that's actually doing it. But you've got to reach that spot. As long as it's just, I know I should be done with anger. I know I should let go of my pain and grudges. It won't happen. You've got to get to a point inside where you really feel like, I don't want this anymore. This is hurting me. I want it out. And when you're really at that place, then you start to be able to work to let it go. And this evening, after dinner, we're going to have at 8:30, a beautiful meditation and fire ceremony on the banks of Ganga. Come. You'll have the opportunity to really let go. Yeah, and for everybody, as you're struggling with that, really ask yourself, what am I holding on to? Why am I holding on? Recognize how what you're holding on to is hurting you. Get in touch with the inner ickiness of it. And really develop that kind of felt sense experience, the way that you do with cigarettes, for example, of just, no more. Like, stop, get out of my body, no more. Develop that same way with the anger, with the grudges, with whatever else you're holding on to. Yeah, beautiful. And tonight is a perfect opportunity for it. Yes.
Pranam Sadhviji. Thank you for taking my question. My question is very simple. It's about mentor and more specifically about spiritual mentors. What can we do so we have more spiritual mentors? So all ages people of all ages, more specifically youth and young people, they have spiritual guidance because we are missing out on many things. We all know that. Let's acknowledge. So what is ours to do? And we are talking about mothers, parents, society, everybody. What can be done? Some guidance, please. Thank you.
So, respect is something that you can't force. You can go to school, you can become a teacher, you can get a degree, you can get a job, but you can't actually force your students to respect you. You can force them to obey you. Nobody wants to fail out of school. But you can't force them to respect you. You can become a parent, a grandparent, You can have children, but you cannot force those children to respect you. You can put on saffron clothes or white clothes or whatever the clothes of a leader, religious leader are in your tradition. But you cannot force a community or a congregation to respect you. They may come for prasad or for communion because it's blessed and nobody wants to not have it. But you can't actually force their respect. You have to earn people's respect. And the critical ingredient of being a mentor is that whoever you are mentoring actually respects you. Otherwise, you can hang a big sign on your chest that says mentor. But until and unless somebody actually comes to you for guidance, you're a mentor without a job, right? So you've got to have people actually respect you and actually listen to what you say. Standing up in front of an auditorium full of kids and giving a lecture to an auditorium full of students doesn't mean that they're actually going to take what you say. They may be giggling to themselves and waiting to run out of the room. So we may have a lot of opportunities to bring in influence, mentoring. But unless we are someone who those mentorees respect, we're not going to have any impact or influence. And what that means is that we've got a beautiful challenge, an opportunity, which is to become the people who others want to take guidance from. To become the sort of people who people want to follow, want to listen to, want to learn from. That's the opportunity we've been given. And as you know, people, even children, look for guidance. They go astray when they don't have it. But it's not that they don't look for it. They do. When kids are confused, when kids are scared, when kids are stressed, they absolutely look for guidance. When it doesn't exist in their world, neither in the family nor in the school situation, that's when they end up getting junk values from, influencers on social media or from their friends or from their friends' elder siblings, because they're not getting it anywhere else. And so we as elders in a community have to show up as people who are engaged, involved, present, and are the sorts who the youth will want to listen to, who they will want to follow. And that's a beautiful opportunity for us. We also have to listen to them, because mentoring is not just about do what I say. Why? Because I've said it. Right? The youth of these days, they're not gonna do it like that. We may have done it. You go back a generation or two, depending on where you live, and people did things because they were told to. Doesn't happen anymore. Or if it does, it's very rare. The youth of today have a lot of questions. They have access to a lot of information. They have access to a lot of different ways of thinking and living. They're not insulated the way they were a generation or two ago. They're being trained to ask. And so we better have answers. And we better have answers that mean something to them other than because I said so. Or how dare you ask that question? I never asked that question. Tum kya samajhti aap apne aap ko, right? That doesn't work these days. They want to be listened to. They want to be heard. They want to be understood. They want to be respected. And that's a beautiful opportunity for us. And only then do we get to be actual mentors. When we realize it's a privilege we've been given, not a right. We don't deserve to be a mentor just because we are of a certain age or have a certain job or wear a certain color clothes. It's a privilege to be a mentor and a responsibility. Because the youth, they watch everything. And you may tell them, be honest, and then they see you lying. You may tell them to have certain values, and then they see you living by other values. They're not going to buy what you tell them. So we have to really live by those values and become those mentors. And then be present for them. Yeah, beautiful. So before we conclude this evening, we have a birthday tonight. Your birthday, yes? Come. Vanessa. Is that right? Vanessa. It is Vanessa's birthday. Vanessa is with us from Mexico. And we have a little satsang tradition with birthdays where we begin by singing happy birthday in English, just because it tends to be the one that everyone, regardless of where they are from, knows. And then we see how many different people we have of how many different languages. And then we get happy birthday sung in as many different languages as we can. Okay? So we begin in English, and if you happen to speak a language other than English, get ready to raise your hand and do happy birthday in your language. Okay. But all together, first in English that everybody knows. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vanessa. Happy birthday to you. Now, other languages. Yes.
Janam midam priye sakhi jishantanu tute sarvadamodam Shatayamaye bhavatu sayushi prachvara sada bhamavshakshatu parmana kirtimarjaye jivanam tuma bhavatu sarthakam dimamidam. This is a prayer saying, may your life be worth, may you be happy, and dear friend, happy birthday. In Hindi and little bit of Sanskrit. Thank you.
Beautiful, yes.
Sogime Modiana, Sogime Modiana, Sogime Mo, Sogime Mo, Sogime Modiana.
What language is that?
Lithuanian.
Beautiful.
Joyeux anniversaire, joyeux anniversaire, joyeux anniversaire, Vanessa. Joyeux anniversaire. It's French.
French, yes. Yes, two over here. And one over here, yes.
Cumpleaños feliz, cumpleaños feliz, te deseamos. ¿Cuál es tu nombre? Vanessa, cumpleaños feliz.
Yes. Yahavia. Okay, okay.
Lang zal ze leven, lang zal ze leven, lang zal ze leven in de gloria, in de gloria, in de gloria. That was Dutch, from Belgium.
We recognize Dutch because we usually have a woman who lived in the Netherlands for many, many years here. So we always get the Dutch version. Sandeep, yeah? Oh, one second. Do we have another mic? 1 second. We'll come right back to you. Okay. Yes.
Parabéns pra você nessa data querida. Muitas felicidades, muitos anos de vida. Portuguese from Brazil.
Beautiful.
I'm Gujarati, but I don't know any song in Gujarati, so I'll sing in Hindi.
Okay.
बार बार दिन ये आए बार बार
ये दिन आए तुम जियो हजारों साल वली सा तुम जियो हजारों साल
ये हमारी आरज़ू हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू Happy birthday to you.
Tanti auguri a te, tanti auguri a te, tanti auguri a Vanessa, tanti auguri a te.
And what language?
Italian.
What language? Italian. Great. Another one here, and then here.
Moltes felicitats, moltes felicitats, et desitgem Vanessa, moltes felicitats. Catalan.
Wonderful. Yes, we had another one here. Yeah.
祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐 ，Vanessa， 祝你生日快乐。
What language was that?
Chinese.
Beautiful. Any other languages? Okay, 2 more. 3 more.
Честит рожден ден на теб, честит рожден ден на теб, честит рожден ден, Ванеса, честит рожден ден.
What language was that?
Bulgarian.
Beautiful.
Shengel chukaheo, Sengel chukaheo, Mani mani Sengel chukaheo, Vanesha is Korean.
Wonderful.
তোমায় আমরা ভালোবাসি তোমায় আমরা ভালোবাসি বালিসা জন্মদিনে তোমায় আমরা ভালোবাসি বালিসা মেক্সিকো থেকে এসেছো তোমায় আমার শুভেচ্ছা তোমায় আমার শুভেচ্ছা ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল কলকাতা
Okay. Any other language? Oh, one more over here. 2 more. Yes.
Zum Geburtstag viel Glück, zum Geburtstag viel Glück, zum Geburtstag, zum Geburtstag, zum Geburtstag viel Glück. German.
What language?
Swedish.
Ja må hon leva, ja må hon leva, ja må hon leva ut i 100 år. Ja visst ska hon leva, ja visst ska hon leva, ja visst ska hon leva ut i 100 år.
ಜನುಮದಿನವಿದು ನಿನ್ನ ಜನುಮದಿನವಿದು ಜನುಮದಿನವಿದು ನಿನ್ನ ಜನುಮದಿನವಿದು ಹುಟ್ಟು ಹಬ್ಬದ ಹಾರ್ದಿಕ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು ಹುಟ್ಟು ಹಬ್ಬದ ಹಾರ್ದಿಕ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು.
And yeah, anything before our Rishikumars in Sanskrit. All right, we've got one in the back.
जय श्री कृष्णा. मैं इंदौर देवास MP से जन्मदिन की बहुत बहुत बधाई बधाई बधाई.
And now we will have our beautiful Rishikumars who will sing our final rendition in Sanskrit.
सुदिनं सुदिनं जन्मदिनं तव भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव सुदिनं सुदिनं जन्मदिनं तव भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव विजयी भव सर्वत्र सर्वदा भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव सुदिनं सुदिनं जन्मदिनं तव भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव भवतु मङ्गलं जन्मदिनं तव. ॐ दीर्घायुष्य ओखदे खनिकाजस्मै जत्वा कनाम्यहम् अतो स्वं दीर्घायुर्भूत्वा शतबलसा विरोहता.
Happy, happy, happy birthday. Beautiful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. We invite you all to join us on the sacred banks of Mother Ganga at 8:30 for the beautiful fire ceremony, the New Year's fire ceremony. And join us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. back on the banks of Ganga for a beautiful morning fire ceremony. Tonight is a letting go, a swaha ceremony, and tomorrow is a sacred ceremony of welcoming in the new year. So you are all invited to join us for both of those.